Every Pokemon region has an evil team. Not just a villain boss, no, a full-on evil team. An organization that is working against us or that has some hidden goal that will hurt innocent people. And sometimes, well, sometimes they throw some curveballs at us with things like Team Skull and Team Yell and Team Star. So I decided to follow the footsteps of the greatest detectives in the Pokemon world. Detectives like Looker of the International Police and well, there don't seem to be many more. I guess Annabelle is one of them, but she's being used to hunt Ultra Beasts, and Nano is a police officer, but he has a serious cat problem. And then there's these guys that fight us at night, but anyway, hey, I'm not so trainer, and what about in the Paldea region? Let's get into it. You heard me in the beginning, we need an evil team. Team Star were not it. They were cool, but not it. Not the evil team. And of course, I could go on and on about Geeta and all that, but you guys are probably sick of that already. And that's because there's never just one big villain boss, there's always a whole thing around them. This whole thing sparks from two comments that I got on my video about Glimora, comments made by Grant Daly and Jacob Coleman, thank you so much guys, and they reminded me of one very specific thing. Evil teams are almost always at the top. Almost because, well, Maxie and Archie are kind of a weird situation. But looking at the past, we start this franchise that we all know and love with the most traditional villain up to this day, Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket. Things were simple back then, there wasn't a lot going on in terms of lore, so the villains are also simple. Giovanni is running a casino and is in a big position of power, being a gym leader in a world where that's one of the biggest honors one can have. Of course, Gen 2 followed the downfall of Team Rocket with them trying to take back the power they had and with that bring forth the return of Giovanni. And Gen 3, like I said, had the crazy ocean guy and crazy land guy. But things got right back to it in Gen 4. In Gen 4, Cyrus is clearly a very powerful man, just walking around Sinnoh as if he owns it, a place filled with powerful trainers and being able to secretly build the Red Chain under the guise of what feels like some kind of energy research company, especially from what Saturn eventually tells us. Also, Karen seems to have been connected to Silphco, which could be the topic for a full-on video. Gen 5, while not really having an influential organization, as in people that are connected to powerful positions in society, even though Anne did become the champion, they are clearly some form of cult comprised of very wise people from all over the world in the Seven Sages, and people with access to historical relics, advanced technology and weaponry. Basically, Getis is without a doubt filthy rich. Gen 6 has Lysander not only being extremely respected, but basically controlling everything in Colossian society, from the news with Malva, which is also part of the Elite Four, to the whole means of communication existing in the region with the Holocaster. Gen 7 was kind of the first time we saw what I think became kind of a theme in Pokemon games as of late. Team Skull seems to be the big bad team. In fact, their leader was Big Bad Guzma, and it really seemed they were it. But they were not it at all. The Ether Foundation, the supposed really good guys, were actually, and you won't believe this, the big bad team. The ones with influence were the bad ones. In Gen 8, the same thing happened. They tried to lure us into thinking that Team Yell, since Galar is based on the UK, would be a stereotypical hooligan evil team, minus the excessive alcohol and mindless violence. But once again, it was Chairman Rose and Macrocosmos, the good guy that controlled the region's energy, that eventually tried to make a medieval catastrophe happen again. As you can see, the powerful ones seem to always be the evil ones, and as of late, the outcasts seem to be the red herring, the one that they throw at us to be like, oh, they are the ones, and then bam, they are not. And in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, we already saw the outcasts, the red herring, then they were Team Star. One could argue that the AI professor is the evil one, the big bad boss, and I think that, in a way, you might actually be somewhat right, as in, the professor might have unknowingly have been part of what is that powerful organization in the Paldea region, and thus the AI was also part of it. And that organization is pretty much there in front of us the whole time. I started this by looking at the past because Game Freak rarely reinvents the formula, they just reshape it a little bit. And because of that, we have to look for an organization that holds a lot of power over the Paldean society. And there are only two actual options, the Pokémon League and the Naranja/Uva Academy. Both of them carry a lot of weight when it comes to shaping up the Paldea region to be what it is in Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet. We have seen in the past how much pride goes into having a specific battle mechanic in the Pokémon region, with some regions actually building their whole challenge system around it like Galar with Dynamax, or having whole traditions around them as well like Alola and Z moves. In Paldea, we see exactly the same thing with terrestrialization, something that supposedly only happens in Paldea, and something that we are given access to by the Academy together with the Pokémon League. Both places have their own appeal to be the bad guys. The Academy had its whole staff replaced 1.5 years before, after Team Star confronted their bullies, and the Pokémon League is one of the strangest ones we had to date. And some of the members even overlap, with Hansen being both an art teacher and an Elite Four member. While the Academy is charged with passing knowledge onto you, the Pokémon League is basically tasked with testing how strong that knowledge made you, so they are always connected, even more with Geeta being the chairwoman of the Pokémon League and the chairwoman of the Academy's school board. And that's where that whole influence thing starts coming together. It's all about treasure, there's no doubt about it. The whole game focuses around finding your treasure. And after we go down to Area 0 and with Terapagos and the baby turtle being shown to us, treasure gets a whole new meaning. The Pokémon League members are one of the few with access to the professor's research, together with the Academy. But not the current Academy, at least not originally. It was the old one, the one before Clavel was part of it. That's because the Terra Orb was shared with them 10 years before the events of Scarlet and Violet, and they liked it, but maybe they thought it was too dangerous. And that's why I think that eventually, in order for them to get the right funding, something had to happen, a scandal, in order for there to be a change that made it possible for the League to control the Academy too, and enter Team Star. Have you ever wondered how could they have made those strange rev rooms with different typings and abilities? Sure, we could all attribute all of that to modifying the parts, but the whole Terra thing is about type changing. Penny could have hacked the Pokémon League in the past as well and gotten access to the research, though I feel it is more likely that the whole thing of them getting access to the power source of the Terra Orbs and then the former deputy director deleting the files in the registry could simply be a way of not leaving a trail. And with a scandal like that, the Academy board goes down and then gets replaced with people from research teams like Clavel and Jack, and of course Hansen, a member of the Elite Four, and Geeta, the chairwoman of the Pokémon League. Now everything was in place for them to have power over everything. They control the League and thus some of the strongest trainers in the region. They control the Professor and thus the research that is happening down in Area 0. They are in the Academy and thus control the knowledge and talents of the students. And, almost like Lysander in Kalos, they control payments by having a currency that is directly connected to them, the League points. It's still not the only currency, but it is one that is incredibly available, simply by harvesting Terra energy. Then you add Glimora to the mix and you can check the video out for more information, and you get a recipe for a big, bad, villainous organization. Geeta and the Pokémon League have their hands in every single part of Paldean society, and it would be incredibly strange for them to not know what's happening inside the crater with the Paradox Pokémon, and more even what was happening in the Asado Desert with the Iron Threads or Great Tusk. It would also be incredibly strange for them to not know about the Professor's supposed death. Their headquarters are right next to the crater and the other door is behind Medali, the town where Larry, the Elite Four member, is also the gym leader. Why would an Elite Four member also be a gym leader if it wasn't just a necessity to keep that place under surveillance? Especially Larry, who is portrayed as Geeta's handyman. It's all about this symbol that they have on their gloves, and who knows how many people are part of their organization or what their goal is. I think that it's all about creating a region full of powerful trainers like Geeta stated, the supremacy of Paldea being achieved through battling against powerful Pokémon that no one has ever seen, or simply by using powerful Pokémon that no one knows how to deal with, the Paradox Pokémon. But who knows what goes in the mind of those who control everything and what they could want when they already have it all. Geeta's name, it comes from Sagitta, which is a constellation, another one of many references to the stars in Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet. It is known as the Arrow, and there are many myths surrounding it, from myths of it being the arrow that got revenge for the death of Asclepius, a healer that could bring people back to life, to the myth of it being the arrow that Heracles used to kill the eagle that was sent by Zeus to kill Prometheus. In Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, the question is, where will their compass lead us? And where is the arrow pointed at? But that is all I have for you today, just a bit of a speculatory look at what I believe will be the big bad villainous organization in the DLC for Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet. But what about you? Do you believe the Pokémon League could be evil? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, before I go, let me thank my Twitch viewer J Pokemon Trainer for claiming the shoutout for this video. Thank you so much for all of your support. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. You can follow me on social media and Twitch. I stream there Wednesday to Sunday, not Saturday, or join our Discord. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.